Thanks for joining us on the show that dives headfirst into all things people, power, and politics. This is The Pulse. I'm Taryn Asher. We'll check in with Roop, who's headed to Mackinac in just a minute. But first, we'll be covering a lot tonight, including President Trump considering a controversial move that could damage his recently repaired relationship with Governor Whitmer. Plus, the U.S. has stopped scheduling visa interviews for foreign students. What happens next? We're also taking a closer look at the latest developments in the Israel-Hamas war for Palestinians as hundreds storm a food warehouse in Gaza just a day after someone opened fire at a crowd at a distribution site. Plus, a warning from President Trump to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We are looking into that with a Jewish man and an Arab American. We'll also have this.
Yeah, hey there, Taryn. It's not every day that a commute to work looks like this. I'm actually heading to Mackinac Island right now for the big conference. And the reason Fox 2 is going in the first place is not just to talk to some of the newsmakers, but we were invited to be a part of the conference itself. In fact, I'll be moderating a panel on Thursday morning, which I'm excited about. And that's why I'm heading to the island. But while I'm here, as you can imagine, as soon as they said Fox 2 would be here, all of the newsmakers wanted to talk to you, the audience at home. And so we have interviews set up with Governor Whitmer. We have Senator Alyssa Slotkin. We have Speaker Matt Hall. We have so many others who would like to talk to the Pulse and talk to Fox 2. And so we're heading to the island right now to get a taste of all things politics on the island. And I got to tell you something. This is not just a usual conference. You know, the Mackinac Policy Conference happens every year. But what's so different this year is so many races up for grabs. Just driving on the way here, I saw all of these billboards for Mayor Mike Duggan saying, sick of the red, tired of the blue, vote independent. It gives you a taste just 50 miles from here as I was driving to board on this boat where the tone and the mood of this state is right now. So many things affected by President Donald Trump and his policies. And so we're heading to the island right now. I'll be moderating a debate tomorrow. We are so proud at Fox 2 to be a part of the conference by moderating that panel with Essie Cupp and April Ryan. I'm doing that tomorrow morning. But we're also going to be talking to the governor tomorrow morning. I'll be asking her about her thoughts on President Trump talking about perhaps pardoning some of the accused kidnappers in the case that, of course, dates back to COVID. I'll be talking to the governor about that and so much more. I'll be joining you, Taryn, just in about 20 minutes or so. When I get back on the island and get my bearings, I'm going to be talking to you and some newsmakers about what's going on here at the Mackinac Policy Conference. But for now, back over to you.
Thanks, Roop. Roop's on a ferry right now, so he's on his way to the island. We'll talk to him in about 20 minutes. It's going to be a different kind of conference this year, and Roop's connected. We're looking forward to hearing what he has to say. But we begin with a move that could free the men serving time, as he mentioned, for plotting to kidnap and kill Governor Whitmer. President Trump took questions from reporters at a swear-in ceremony for interim D.C. District Attorney Jeanine Pirro. He was asked if he'd consider pardoning the so-called Wolverine watchman accused in the plot. You may remember back in 2020, the group was angry about the governor issuing a COVID lockdown.
I'm going to look at it. I will take a look at it. It's been brought to my attention. I did watch the trial. It looked to me like somewhat of a railroad job. I'll be honest with you. It looked to me like some people said some stupid things. You know, they were drinking, and I think they said stupid things. But I'll take a look at that. And a lot of people are asking me that question from both sides, actually. A lot of people think they got railroaded.
14 people were charged in October 2020. 5 people were convicted in state court, 4 in federal court. 5 people were found not guilty in the case. There were claims of entrapment that came out after it surfaced that the FBI used 3 informants and 2 undercover agents. Well, this sparked plenty of feedback on our Fox 2 Facebook page. Don calling it, quote, a setup from the start. Ronnie prefers the president work on things like inflation or security rather than tackling this. And Jessica says the suspects don't deserve to be released and should do their time. Now, if you would want to weigh in on things like this, make sure you head to our Fox 2 Detroit Facebook page and make your voice heard. A new roadblock for international students. The State Department is halting new visa interviews. The freeze does not apply to those who already have interviews scheduled, but it's part of a wider effort to crack down, including expanding screening of social media activity. It's the latest move in the Trump administration's immigration tightening, with officials saying It's about national security, but for many international students, it feels like they're being swept up in a political storm.
The president certainly had great concerns that there are foreign students, not everyone, but there are foreign students who come to this country, I do believe, who helped create this unrest.
We're all panicking. We're all overwhelmed. Time of uncertainty. Literally, like I've never experienced it before.
It feels very disorienting to have to try to think about whether or not I'm welcome here or whether there is a stable future here. And when it comes to giving back to my community and investing, that's the thing that gives me purpose here.
Well, you remember last week, the Trump administration revoked Harvard's ability to enroll international students. Harvard challenged, and a federal judge blocked that order. Well, there's never a shortage of political news, so let's pick up the pace and run through some of the other big stories we're following. The Trump administration is asking a judge to toss out the lawsuit over this man's wrongful deportation to El Salvador. They claim the court lacks jurisdiction because Kilmar Abrego Garcia isn't in the U.S. Officials admitted Abrego Garcia's deportation was an administrative error. President Trump said he could get Abrego Garcia back with a call to El Salvador's president, but said he wouldn't do it, claiming he's a member of the MS-13 gang. Abrego Garcia denies this. The Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration to facilitate his return. And speaking of President Trump, his big, beautiful budget bill is being criticized by his buddy Elon Musk, who recently resigned from Doge. Musk described it as a massive spending bill, adding it increases the deficit while undermining Doge's work. When President Trump was asked to respond, he only answered by criticizing Democrats for not being on board with the bill. And a federal judge strikes down an executive order that would ban one of the country's most prestigious law firms, and we're talking about Whitmer Hale. Those sanctions would have included suspending attorney security clearances and barring employees from accessing federal buildings. The firm once employed Robert Mueller, who you may remember investigated Trump in his first term. The federal judge ruled the order is unconstitutional and permanently blocked its enforcement. Well, a major legal setback for the families of the Oxford school shooting victims. The state Supreme Court has declined to hear their case, effectively shutting down their push to hold the Oxford School District legally responsible. 4 students, Tate Meir, Madison Baldwin, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling lost their lives in this 2021 tragedy. The shooter and his parents convicted for their roles, but the families say the school district also failed, missing crucial red flags and doing too little too late. Today's decision means their fight in court hits a wall, at least for now.
This is horrible. This is absolutely horrible, and there's going to be no change coming out of this tragedy. That's basically what the decision today said, is your kid's just a gun statistic. We don't need to change a damn thing.
Government now in Michigan, if you work for the government, injure or kill somebody, you are above the law. You don't have to worry about being held accountable, and therefore no one will ever learn from these past mistakes.
And what Attorney Ben Johnson was referring to is governmental immunity that shields government's workers from lawsuits. Now, I did an in-depth piece on governmental immunity, why public employees like Oxford workers can't be held accountable, the implications if they were, and what it would take to change this. If you want to watch it, just scan that QR code at the bottom right side of your screen. Well, after the break, the Israel-Hamas war, is there a ceasefire in the works, or is the intensity of the attacks and casualties growing? New developments and a new warning from President Trump to Benjamin Netanyahu. You're watching The Pulse on Fox 2. Back now on The Pulse, looking at all things people, power, and politics, and now taking a closer look at the Israeli-Hamas war. 600 days into the war, that's today, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation announces a temporary pause on aid distribution due to what it calls, well, look at that, disorder. They want to increase security after thousands of starving people in the Gaza Strip broke through security gates and stormed a distribution center. We're told at least one person died, dozens more were hurt. This as the foundation faces criticism for requiring Gazans to carry these heavy boxes long distances that can be very challenging. Israeli officials say it is the only way to make sure aid doesn't end up in the hands of Hamas.
People are truly hungry. We did not have dinner yesterday, and we may not eat today.
Getting medical aid has never been easy in Gaza or in West Bank because hospitals have been attacked.
We leave the fish without the water. We leave the Hamas terrorists without the tool for governance.
Israel's increasing its effort on the ground as well, hoping to control 75% of Gaza over the next 2 months. And joining us now is Osama Sablani, the publisher of the Arab American News, and Aaron Tobin, a board member with the Michigan chapter of the Zionist Organization of America. And when you hear that, 2 months, I mean, 2 months longer than already what everybody has been going through over there. We hear that there's a proposal, a new one that's in the works right now from the U.S., Steve Witkoff. And there might be possibly a ceasefire with hostages released. We've heard this before. Is this going to happen? What's different about this particular proposal?
Well, I think that the United States is not very serious about this, because if they are serious, then Benjamin Netanyahu would listen. I was reading this morning that the United States, since October 7, 2023, sent 90,000 tons of weapons to Israel. So whoever gives you that much weapons, they have a leverage of what you should do in a war like this. It's enough. I don't think that we can continue bombing and destroying already bombed and destroyed
Some of those, should they just release the hostages? I mean, that's what Netanyahu wants, is to...
Netanyahu wants to continue the war. Now he's heading to Iran. He continues to kill and destroy in Lebanon. Netanyahu doesn't want to stop the war. There is nothing there in Gaza for him. There is a deal right now on the table. If you hear what the United States is saying and Witkoff was saying, you would know that Netanyahu is the one who is really not wanting the deal. He doesn't want the
Should
deal.
they try to release the hostages, Aaron, and see what happens? Because that's what it seems like is pretty...
600 days they have been living in the worst conditions underground in tunnels with the rats that Hamas are putting them in these rat tunnels. You hear the testimony of the hostages that were released and the horrific conditions that they were kept under. All Israel has wanted from the beginning is to release the hostages, and it would have stopped immediately. Now, the condition is give us back all the hostages, and Hamas, lay down your arms, and we'll give you free access out of the Gaza Strip. Even the people in Gaza, thousands are marching daily to beg Hamas to get out. They are anti-Hamas now, the residents of Gaza.
Well, here's the
video
thing.
After video. I don't see any of those.
You don't
happening.
see any videos. You don't see any videos of Jews being killed. You never see it.
Look, let's just be serious about it. You know, like there are 2.3 million people in Gaza that are being starved. The international community is up in arms against Israel. There isn't a state on the face of this earth that's saying that don't stop bombing. Stop bombing and stop killing.
We've seen the
Palestinian
ambassador crying today at the UN, just upset about everything that was going on with so many children dying. But here's the thing, Aaron, if the prisoners, the hostages are released, do you think that Netanyahu, though, will end this war? Because he is really on a mission, though, to end Hamas, so this never happens again.
He wants to fight Iran now.
They go together, and we have to know that Osama backs Hamas. He has never said anything against Hamas, and he backs Iran. So everything he says has to be tempered with the truth. Now, all Israel wants is their people back. How can they? There will be no peace without the hostages coming back.
I'm not going to let you get away with this. Be back at Hamas. I'm supporting Palestinians.
Right.
The
Palestinians have rights.
Want Hamas
2.3 million people are being bombed daily.
Thousands of people want Hamas
That's who I support. I don't support Hamas. I support the Palestinians.
You support Hamas and you support Iran.
No, but hold on a second, because Hamas
I don't support
is the
Iran.
government.
I support the United States of America. I don't support Iran.
Right. Is it hard? Do you think that the lines, though, are getting so blurred now because Hamas is their only government? And then, of course, Palestinians are their innocent ones that are being killed in the crossfires. They go after military
That's where we should draw
commanders.
the line. I think the people who are dying right now, there is no vision of how to stop this war. There is a deal on the table, like we've been reading it. Witkoff is saying that release the hostages. You know, we're talking about 20 hostages like still alive, and maybe some of them
then
are dead.
Them.
Okay, release them. But there are thousands of Palestinians who are in prison. Nobody's talking about them.
Because they were convicted in front of a trial and due process.
Well, this is because of October 7th, which was very horrific, and everybody has seen that. But let's talk about, though, now that the top commander has been killed with Hamas, do you think that things may change? I mean, that's definitely a step in the right direction.
Hamas's goal, no matter what, is to destroy Jews all over the world. It's in their charter. Just read the charter if you don't believe me. Yeah. They want all the Jews killed. They had peace. Egypt was in control of Gaza for many years. Then Israel left in 2005. Instead of building up Gaza,
there are no Hamas
they spent billions
in the West
of
Bank,
dollars
and they're
to
killing
build
Palestinians in the West Bank. There are no Hamas in Lebanon. They're killing people in Lebanon. There is no Hamas in Yemen. They're killing people in Yemen.
These Arabs have been
the
fighting each other
for hundreds of years.
Now
that's named Netanyahu that's killing people everywhere and doesn't want to stop.
I mean, are you really going to get every Palestinian to move out of the Gaza Strip? I mean, that seems
Israel never
ridiculous.
never asked for that. They want the hostages back. They want Hamas out, disarmed and out, so that they cannot destroy the lives of the people in Gaza.
That's not going to happen.
Let's talk about this deal, though, with Iran. Is this going to it sounds like President Trump is setting some boundaries, but that Netanyahu and Iran's president doesn't. They sound cautiously optimistic, but really just skeptical.
Trump wants the deal. Iran wants the deal. There are problems how to work out the deals. You know, you're talking about the regional power and the superpower. The only person that doesn't want a deal is Netanyahu, and he is trying to threaten all the time to bomb and to destroy and to do this and to do that, to draw United States and Iran into conflict. And that's not in the best interest of the United States or the region. But it's in the best interest of Netanyahu because he's a war criminal.
And now the distribution of aid has stopped. Now what? With all these people who are going to be starving and dying.
Out of one side of his mouth, he says that Trump controls Netanyahu. On the second side of his mouth, he says Netanyahu controls Trump.
I said he should control Netanyahu.
I heard President Trump on the way here on the radio saying, listen, if there's not a deal with Iran, there's two outcomes. One is peaceful, one is very detrimental to Iran, and we don't want to see that happen. Trump is plain as can be.
I mean, are we talking about what, another world war?
But we're talking about
I'm sorry,
America
but you're
going
putting words in my mouth. I never said
and destroying Iran's nuclear facilities and all of their ports and putting them back about 500 years in society.
Osama, what do you think needs to happen to end this war?
I think Netanyahu should resign with his right-wing extremist criminal government.
But how do you prevent another attack?
The Israelis are divided over this. I'm not talking about
everybody's not
the rest of the world.
In their opinion.
The rest of the world is saying stop it right now, stop the war, and let's talk about how we can find a Palestinian state to coexist with an Israeli state. Everybody is saying that except Netanyahu and his right-wing government. They do not want a solution. They wanted to continue the killing because this is the only way that they can stay in power.
Well, do you think that they're going to consider now releasing those hostages? Do you think that is a strong possibility at this point, given that we're 600 days in here and potentially 2 more months?
They will release the hostages if they have a guarantee that they will get the Israelis out of their territory.
Will you call for the hostages release right now to the
I am calling for the hostages release with the Israelis withdraw
so
and
you're not calling for the hostages
well, there's one. No,
well,
that's
of course, it has to be.
Here is what
you cannot release the hostages and continue bombing and starving Palestinians. You can't do that.
There will be no ceasefire until the mothers, the daughters, the husbands, they come home. These are people who have been held hostages. If it was our families, we would understand.
Both, it is terrible over there, and certainly we hope for an ending very soon. We thank you both for being here right now. Certainly it's a heated topic. Well, we're talking still people, power, and politics, and we're taking it on the road next. We're checking in with our very own Roop Raj, who's on Mackinac Island for this year's policy conference. The boss is back in 3 minutes. It's people, power, and politics. Welcome back to Detroit's only nightly political talk show. The who's who of state politics. They're all up north this week, including our very own Roop Raj. It's the annual Mackinac Policy Conference at the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island. And host of The Pulse. Roop Raj is moderating one of the events. There's a big honor there, Roop, and he just got off the ferry. He's safe and sound on the island. Roop, this is really exciting, and I feel like with everything going on across the nation, certainly, and then here with Detroit politics and what's going on around our own state and all the policies, this is going to be pretty key, this conference.
Oh, I think you're right. I mean, this is a conference that happens every single year, but this year is markedly different for two big reasons. One, uncertainty. That is a huge reason that so many people who are policy makers and people who are affected by policy are showing up here to this island. Thousands of them are here to say, hey, wait a minute, what happens in Washington doesn't stay in Washington. How will it affect us here at home? And the second big thing that's happening this year that you didn't see in years past, not just one small race, multiple races, Senate races, congressional races, a mayoral race, and a gubernatorial race. On the way here, Taryn, I saw signs. Mayor Mike Duggan has bought up some signs about 50 miles here from Mackinac that says, tired of the red, or I think it's sick of the red, tired of the blue, vote independent. A sign of the times as this election is heating up, and it's heating up here on this island. And as I say, those folks who are affected by policy that are right here on the island as well, someone who observes that carefully is John McElroy, a regular on the Pulse. And John, it's always good to see you. Thanks for joining us here tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me here, Roop.
What is it? We were just talking about the uncertainty. In fact, the panel I'm doing tomorrow is all about uncertainty. That seems to be the buzzword around town here on Mackinac.
Well, yeah, we've got a policy in Washington that nobody can seemingly keep track of. It's what I'm calling shoot from the hip, tariff du jour. We really don't know where these tariffs are going. And so imagine if you're a company that's thinking, geez, do I have to build an assembly plant in the U.S. because I had it in Mexico and I need to move it here? The tariffs are going to make me do that. Well, what if the tariffs change tomorrow? So I don't really know whether I should make this investment or not. So to your point, uncertainty in the industry, it is frozen right now. No one's spending money, and this is not good.
Well, we talk a little bit about how this president, according to so many of the insiders in Washington, say he does take calls. He does listen to people. Bill Ford Jr., Mary Barra. They have the president's ear. Do you suppose they're talking to them? Are your sources telling you that?
My sources are telling me that they're talking with the automakers here in Detroit. And in fact, all the automakers are talking with the administration morning, afternoon, and night. So that's what I'm coming to, is to this uncertainty. Maybe the tariff thing will play out, but as of right now, it's really turned this industry upside down, and that is not healthy for the industry.
John McElroy, always good to see you. We'll be seeing you on the island. We know you spent a couple of days here already. Thanks for spending some of it with us. We appreciate it. That's just one of the many people who's here at the Mackinac Policy Conference. And I got to tell you, it is packed with people who are here to talk about policy and are wondering about the future. And Taryn, that's the name of the game. And in fact, the panel I'm doing tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. on Thursday is all about uncertainty and the uncertainty that so many people feel on this island right now. So we'll send things back over to you for now.
Yeah, and Roop, you know what? You even have some controversy now with President Trump saying that he may consider releasing some of those Wolverine watchmen. I know you'll be asking the governor about that as well. So definitely more to come. We look forward to your reports tomorrow.
Talking to the governor tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We have 10 minutes with her. We'll certainly be addressing that. It's a big one. We'll see you throughout the week.
Thanks so much, Roop. Well, that's The Pulse for tonight, and thank you for joining us. I'm Taryn Ashler. Good night, everyone.